Hello and welcome to the channel. If you're considering buying the CSL pedals with the load cell upgrade, then it's something you need to consider before making that purchasing decision. And it's really down to the brake pedal. And this is something I've talked about in my talk and drive, and if you watch my unboxing you see I lean against this pedal on the table and you can see it's a really stiff material and it doesn't really move that much. When I first kind of started thinking about this, I thought, oh, maybe it's the pedal travel. It's just basically not enough, and it doesn't give you that kind of feeling, that good balance between stiffness and pedal travel. But I kind of worked it out now, guys, because observing my other load cell brake pedals, basically on my other set, like my Hussenfeld Pro, and also with the Thrustmaster TLCM pedal set with my special mod for improving brake. I noticed, and something I observed, is the brake travel isn't that different, but there is a difference in the stiffness of the material. So if we look at the travel here, you can see it's not really moving a lot, which is absolutely fine for a load cell brake pedal, as it's essentially, it's not about travel, it's about the load cell, which is weighing my pedal inputs. As I push harder, it's just weighing, the amount of pressure I'm applying, and that's being transferred into braking force. So it doesn't matter if this thing doesn't move at all. But one thing I kind of realised now after kind of observing it and kind of thinking about it is the material they've used, the sort of elastomer springs effectively, which are providing that amount of springiness, is they're very stiff. And there is and although the travel is not too bad for a load cell pedal, it's because it's moving, you can see that. It is a very stiff material, and I think overly stiff, the material they're using there. And what I'm feeling is when I press into the pedal, although I can see the travel, I'm watching the preview of the video, I can see how much travel there is. I can really hardly feel it, but since it's a really stiff material, and although it is obviously flexing, it doesn't feel actually particularly progressive. It just feels stiff from this point to that point. It is, so you don't really get that kind of that what you would normally you'd want is a build up of that resistance. It starts off like soft and then feels stiffer and stiffer as you push into the pedal. Here it just feels like super stiff throughout. I'm assuming Fanatec have chosen this material for durability. These stiff elastomer rubber springs, these springs are going to provide good durability. They're not going to break easily, they're not going to split, and therefore I'm assuming they've picked that over what I would have preferred, a more progressive feel of compression of that material, because it is just super stiff. And what you want to observe is really this on the movement rather than the top, is that bit there, and you can just see the travel from my ball of the foot, because that's what you're feeling, the travel. And I'm pushing the pressure in there. And so it's not a ton of travel, but it's okay. But yeah, it doesn't feel particularly progressive build up of this tension. It just feels like very stiff completely from the outset right to the end of that, which is as much as I can push into this pedal. And I'm putting a ton of pressure into that. I'm pushing against the back of my seat. It probably doesn't look like I'm putting a lot of effort into it, but I can tell you I'm really, really slamming on it, and my calves are burning with that amount of pressure I'm pushing into it. I'd say what I prefer is actually with this pedal is the feeling from the top, the amount of travel and the progressive feel there, because obviously the leverage where you're pressing into the pedal, it matters. If you push further down, that's not moving at all, but of course that's that amount of leverage there. And what I was kind of playing around with, I was just pushing the top, and at the top when I press there, that's the amount of kind of the feeling of what I would have liked the pedal to feel like, the amount of distance and the amount of feeling from that material, from that leverage right at the top. That feels really good. Down here it just feels too stiff, and of course, like I said, you push down here, that thing's not going to move. So obviously it's to do with leverage of the material, so it's not necessarily the bad choice of material, but I'd say it's the way it's levered right behind the ball of your foot. It's leverage, it's a stiff material, which would have been better if it worked slightly differently, or a different material to make it a little bit softer. And I think a lot of people are actually going to really hate this pedal set because of that brake, because it's so stiff. You need to make sure these pedals are mounted to something really, really sturdy. I'm pushing a lot of pressure into this, guys. I don't know, maybe 40-50 kilos I'm pressing into that. You think about how much, what you're pushing into when you're pushing that much pressure into it, half your body weight, if not more. And yeah, so you need a really stiff pedal deck for this set of pedals as well, to try and get any of that movement out of it from that kind of from that stiff material. So something to think about. I'm not trying to put you off these pedals. I've been using them now for several weeks, and I'm setting up my cameras and setting up things to review for a proper full review. But I thought it was important to bring this out, because obviously I'm going to mention this in the review, but I figured this requires a standalone video just to talk about this element of this pedal set. So you may find it's far too stiff for you and you just don't really feel much progressive feel from the build up of the pedal. I would certainly understand that. And if you have you can't really floor mount these in any way, of course you can reduce the amount of pressure in the software, so it doesn't need 80 kilograms of force to get to 100% braking. You could put it at 40, but bear in mind, obviously it means you're going to get even less travel from the pedal if you set it at a lower setting. And of course what you want from a load cell pedal is something kind of strong, so you can really slam on it and just get a good range of amount of pressure you're applying into that pedal. That's what it's about with a load cell pedal. And yeah, I would say material selection, I'd say, is a bit of a shame. I think they should have been a little bit softer with the leverage they're using on this pedal. Could it be modded? Potentially, because you can, it's not easily modded, but you could, potentially swap it out with something else. Maybe it's something will come up in the future and I'll try it out. But for now, I'm kind of using it as they are. And on a positive note, as a set of pedals, they are working just fine. I'm braking with good control. There's no problem with that. They're just as effective as any load cell brake I've used. Yet I'm not really keen on the stiffness of that material. I think it's too stiff. I think it is too stiff. So something to bear in mind, if you're looking for like a stiff Formula style brake pedal, maybe you're going to love this and it's exactly what you want, if that's the driving discipline that you're set on. But if you want something, more, universal, something more like a GT brake pedal, something more like a car pedal that you're familiar with, for that sensation, then you're not going to get that here. It's something you're going to have to get used to. So something to think about before you buy these pedals. If you have bought them, drop comments below the video. Maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you're completely happy with them. That's absolutely fine. But there's certainly going to be some people that are going to be dissatisfied with the feel from this brake pedal, and to the point of potentially selling them, sending them back and trying something else, because I can understand that. It's something which is an issue with this brake pedal. I'd say they could have done a slightly better job on it. I mean, it still functions as a brake pedal and it works you get good control from braking. It's absolutely fine, but yeah, a bit stiff, a bit too stiff, guys. If it felt like the top of the pedal when I'm pushing there, that'd be absolutely awesome. That'd be perfect. But down here, it does feel too stiff for me, and I'm used to using load cell pedals. I can use them. I've got used to them. I've used them for several weeks, so I can't say they are not performing well. They are a sturdy pedal set. I'll give them that. They do feel strong, but yeah, there's certainly something a little bit too stiff, a little bit bland about the feeling in the pedals. But yeah, there you go. But anyway, guys, check the description. As I said, review will come up. Obviously, it's not out now, as I haven't written the review script yet and I haven't recorded anything, but it will appear in the description and when that's ready. So do, come back soon and I'll have that review for you. But there you go. Hope you found this useful. Yeah, and as I said, drop comments below the video, guys. Let me know what you think. And until next time, take it easy, happy simming, and bye-bye.